Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ramonepreston Show. This is the day that the Lord has made. We are rejoicing and we are glad in it. Today is, I got to make sure I know what day it is. It's Tuesday, September the 26th, 2023. It is 12 o'clock noon Eastern Standard Time here in the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta. And you, my friends, are watching the Ramonepreston Show. If you're coming on, joining me live, please hit the like button, hit the share button, tag Lolly Dolly everybody, and let them know your boy, Ramonepreston, my squad. We are live right here in the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta. And again, you are watching the Ramonepreston Show. Today, I'm super excited about the discussion that we're going to have because I'm going to discuss with you the 5 elements to engineering a $1 million enterprise. The 5 elements to engineering a $1 million enterprise. Now, before you just get off your rocker and start thinking crazy and asking yourself, Ramon, how in the world you gonna show me how to engineer a $1 million enterprise? First of all, I've done it for myself. I'm just not one of those people that teach principles and concepts that I personally don't live. All right. If I'm learning something and I know it's starting to work for me, I'll start sharing it with my community. But if I've learned something and I've executed and gotten results from it, I have all the confidence in the world to talk about it. So today I'm sharing with you the 5 elements to engineering a $1 million enterprise. Now, here's the good thing about these 5 elements that I'm sharing with you. And this is really personal to me because for the last couple weeks, I don't know, for some strange reason, people been asking me, like a lot of people, I've had like quite a few people that personally know me. And I'm talking about like family members, friends, people that I don't see all the time. They're not here in Atlanta, but just people who know me. Maybe I grew up with them, maybe they knew me 20, 30 years ago. But for some strange reason, I've had quite a few, maybe a good handful of people just within the last couple weeks that knew me, all right? They knew me. They don't know the 2023 me, but they knew me. But we're still cordial and kind with each other. But for some strange reason, I've had about a handful of people to ask me like, Ramon, what exactly do you do? We see you on social media all the time, but we really don't know what you do. And I thought it was kind of funny. It's not offensive to me. I'm not offended. It's just kind of funny. But it's helped me to understand that just because I show up on social media, just because I run my mouth a lot, it doesn't mean everybody knows what you're doing. And so today's show, although I'm sharing with you 5 elements for engineering a $1 million business, these 5 elements are actually the same 5 elements that I use to consult and to coach my business clients. So that's why I'm super excited about this, because on one hand, I get to share with you things that you can use and do to engineer a $1 million enterprise. But then on the other hand, I get to kind of explain to everybody some of the things that I do. All right. So again, I'm a business and financial coach, a consultant, an educator. And if you sat down with me and we had like this initial consultation or this initial coaching session, most likely I would walk you through an assessment that would be made up of each of these 5 elements that I'm about to share with you. Okay, so let me give them to you real quick, and then we'll go through them. These 5 elements, I refer to them as my AD process. AD process. It's an acronym for A, I, D, I, E. Now, if you're asking me, where did you get this AD process from? I came up with it. Like once you coach and consult enough clients, you start coming up with your own proprietary processes for how you do it. especially when you do it a lot. Like I've consulted a lot of people, I've coached a lot of people, and we still coach and consult a lot of people. So I've done it enough times to create formulas and processes that actually work for me and that I know work best for the people that we actually consult and coach. And so the 5 elements to engineering a $1 million enterprise are actually the 5 elements that I use as a business coach and a consultant when I'm working with clients. And this is the acronym that I use. It's AIDIE. The A is for assess, and I'll go into the details of each of them, okay? So assess, I is identify, D is develop, I is integrate, and E is execute. So again, for those of you that might not know me and you might not be real familiar with what exactly do I do, I'm a business consultant. And I could say I'm a financial consultant as well, but most of my clientele are small business owners and entrepreneurs, people who basically want to figure out the best way to engineer their businesses so that they can become 6-figure earners, millionaires, and have success in their business. So that's why today's show, I'm sharing with you 5 elements to engineer a $1 million enterprise. So if you have a desire to really put together an enterprise that you know can definitely get you to $1 million. The reason why I say engineering a $1 million enterprise, because I don't have a $10 million enterprise yet. The truth is, even though I have a $1 million, it might be worth a little more than that if I valued it. If I got it valuated, it might be worth more. But my point is, I'm engineering now for myself a $10 million enterprise. And in order for me to engineer a $10 million enterprise, even though I use some of the same processes for myself that I use for my clients, it still stretches me. All right. But what I do know is if you're anywhere between 0 and $1 million, you're going to have to engineer your enterprise correctly so that you can at some point get to $1 million. It ain't easy, but if you're willing to learn, get the knowledge, put it to practice, be relentlessly persistent and consistent, and be open to make the adjustments as you grow and pivot as you grow, there are a lot of changes that are going to be made. Even just getting from 0 to 100,000, there are a lot of changes going to be made. Even just from getting from 100,000 to maybe $250,000 a year, it's so many changes that have to be made. But if you can at least engineer your enterprise wherever you are for $1 million, at least you know you have a runway long enough so that as you go through the 5 figures and then the low 6 figures and you start moving up, at least you know you got wiggle room and you have some runway to make the adjustments that are needed and necessary. One of my mentors, he talks about this same concept, but in his own way. And of course, he talks about it on $1 billion level. I ain't nowhere near his level. But what I do know is I had to realize that in order for me to stop plateauing as an entrepreneur, I needed to figure out how to properly engineer my business, because I was at a point in my entrepreneurial journey at a certain juncture. I got to a certain juncture where I just kept plateauing, meaning that one year I make 80 grand. The next year, me and my wife will make 100. The year after that, we'll make 112. The year after that, we'll be at 98. It was like we always plateaued. And it was so frustrating for me because I was like, man, why can't I just keep growing? And then the few experts that I did talk to in those years that I kept plateauing and had frustration, these experts would always tell me, well, Ramon, you know, if you just grow by 10% next year, That's substantial for your industry. And I'm thinking, man, growing 10% is great, but I need something more. And what I realized that I needed was I needed to engineer my business better. So I said enough. With that, here are the 5 elements to engineering a $1 million enterprise. Okay, and I'm using my own. I could say it's a proprietary process, but it's just my own process that I use for my clients. As I said, if you were a client, I walk you through these same steps and we'll dig into the details of these 5. So what do I mean by assess, identify, develop, integrate, and execute? Well, the first element to engineering a $1 million enterprise is, come on now, it is assessing your, a lot of people call them your PPF goals, your personal, professional, and financial goals. So in other words, the reason why this would be considered the first element to engineering a $1 million business is you got to do the math. You have to be able to do the $1 million math. Now, if you listen to some of the mentors that I follow, they're probably going to tell you, if you want to engineer a $1 million business, you're probably going to have to engineer a $10 million business and then reverse engineer it back to just getting to $1 million first. All right. And I agree with them. So whether you're engineering whether you're engineering a $1 million business after reverse engineering a $10 million business, or if you're just below $1 million trying to get to $1 million, it's still going to require you to assess your personal, professional, and financial goals. So you've got to do the personal math for yourself, because a lot of times, even when you get professionals, whether they're consultants and experts, to help you put a $1 million infrastructure together, whether it's with platforms, technology, whether it's with automated systems and processes, you can get all that stuff put together. But if mentally, if spiritually, you can't break the barriers and the limitations you have about money in your head, because you've really never set true personal, professional, and financial goals, you still gonna keep hitting roadblocks. You're still gonna keep hitting roadblocks. You're still not going to get to a $1 million enterprise, because mentally, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, you just can't get past the limitations of what your beliefs are about money. All right. And so I would say you need to assess your personal, professional, and financial goals. So one of the things that I like to do if I sit down with a client or a mentee is I ask them, okay, so where do you see yourself financially a year from now? Like, how much do you see yourself making? How much do you see your business making? What is the dollar amount? Now, if you're going to assess your personal, professional, and financial goals, first of all, you need to, and you may have heard me say this before, you need to qualify the goals. So that means you need to have something clear that you can write down. Okay, this is what I want to do in the next 12 months. Okay, I want to be debt free in the next 12 months. Okay, you qualify that. But then you need to quantify that. So for example, if I qualify my goal and say, I want to be debt free in the next 12 months, just an example. Okay, I qualified it because I have a goal. I have a statement that I can write down, I can speak it, I can articulate it. But that doesn't mean you quantified it. The way you quantify it is you got to add up all your debt. How much debt do you have that actually needs to be paid off? So if you got $100,000 worth of debt and you want to be debt free in the next year, okay, now you got to do the math on how much money every month do I need to pay towards my debt? And does that mean I need to make more money above my job or above what I make in my business in order to be able to pay that off? This is how you assess your personal, professional, financial goals. So let's just say you want to engineer a $1 million enterprise. And let's just hypothetically start at $1 million. All right. So that means you want to engineer an enterprise that can make you $1 million in the next year. That's about what? Let's just say $88,000, $85,000 a month for the next year. So it starts with assessing. That's where the A comes in at. Assessing your personal, professional, and financial goals. You have to do the math on this. And of course, it's easy to just get a calculator, get $1 million on the calculator, divide it by 12, divide it by 52, divide it by 365. But I would really encourage you just to do the millionaire math to see, like, what is $1 million a year? And is that $1 million gross? Is that $1 million net? Right? Because if it's $1 million gross, that don't mean you're going to net $1 million. That means you might net $100,000. You might net 40 grand. So you just want to be able to do the math, but you have to assess your personal, professional, and financial goals. And the reason why I say personal, professional, financial, because personally, you got to break the limitations financially off yourself. You got to see yourself making $1 million. You got to see yourself having $1 million enterprise. You got to see yourself at the very least generating $1 million through your company, even if it's gross. Can I see myself generating $85,000 a month through my business? How will my personal life look? Professionally, can my business handle? Does it have the capacity? This is why you got to engineer it right. It's almost like saying, I want to bring 8,000 people into a building that I engineered for 800 people. You're not going to fit 8,000. That building going to collapse, or you're going to be fined by the city, because it wasn't built to house 8,000. It was built to house 800. And a lot of times when entrepreneurs start businesses, they don't engineer a business to match what they really have a desire to see in their business, because they really didn't assess their personal, professional, and financial goals. All right. So assessing your personal, professional, financial goals would be the first element. The second element to engineering $1 million enterprise is identifying your best business structure. And again, this is like my consulting process. I walk all of my clients through this same process. AIDIE. We call it here our AD process. It's our AD process. This is the consulting and coaching process I walk clients through. I actually even have a self-assessment with this for clients or students who are in our courses. But element number 2, the second element is identifying your best business structure. So now you got to take a look at your business structure. So if you just have a business that you want to start to go make money, it's a product you want to sell, it's a service you want to provide, is that business structure scalable and to have the bandwidth to get you to $1 million in revenue, right? If it may, but you can't just be the only one that says that. The problem a lot of entrepreneurs have, I told my wife this last week, I said, because I was thanking my wife helped me dodge a bullet a couple weeks ago on a real estate deal. And I told her when it was over, when we was leaving the appointment, I told her, I said, number one, thank you. I appreciate you for being patient with me, because you know I can get hot-headed sometimes. But I told her, I said, one of my problems as an entrepreneur is the exaggerated optimism we have. Like as entrepreneurs, we always have this exaggerated optimism. We always see the good in it. Oh, that's a deal there. I can see it. I can rework this. I can do that. I can tweak that. Oh, we definitely can get something out of that. It's all exaggerated optimism. It's unreal. And we need people who are reasonable and logical in our life to help us. So my point in bringing that up is when you're identifying with your best business structure, don't just have this unrealistic idea that you don't let a professional or somebody who could help you, who's done it, vet, right? Like I've had clients and mentees who I've sat down with, and when we got to here and they told me what type of business they were starting, what type of product they were selling or service they was providing, and we started doing the math, which is the next step. But once we started doing the math, I'm like, I don't think this business will scale you to $1 million. So they start telling me about the business. So I'll take them back up to A. I'll say, so what are your goals? How much money do you want to make a year? How much money do you want your business to make? And then when they tell me how much money they want to make and how much they want their business to make, I'm telling them, yeah, but if you build a business like that, you're not going to be able to make that. Well, I think I will be if I do this, if I get 20 people a week or paying this. I'm like, it don't work like that. That's not how it works. It's so unrealistic. You're gonna crash and burn so quick, like out the gate, you're gonna crash and burn. So you want to identify with your best business structure. This is really one of the reasons why I always recommend, even if you have an operating business that you want to start, meaning that an operating business is a business that you're starting to sell a product, to provide a service. Even if you want to start an operating business, because I think about the business structure and the bandwidth you need, I almost always recommend for you to start a holding company. Because if you start a holding company, even if you start an operating company that you want to use to start selling products and services, if for some reason you start glitching and you realize that this operating company doesn't have the bandwidth to get you to $1 million in revenue, because it ain't your only business and you ain't got all your eggs in that basket, it's really a subsidiary of a bigger conglomerate that gives you the flexibility to start branching out or maybe expanding into another business operation without killing all the work you did in this one if this one was at the top. Does that make sense? So the second element to engineering a $1 million enterprise is identifying your best business structure. You need to talk to a consultant. You need to have a good coach. You need to have attorneys and CPAs. And sometimes the attorneys and CPAs can help you with the legal side and the technical side and the tax side. That's what they're good at. But a lot of times the attorney or the CPA, they're not the $10 million entrepreneurs. They're the specialists in law and taxes or finances or accounting, but they're not always the entrepreneurs. So that's why I always recommend you need to have a mixture of these people in your credibility kit. Because if you have a CPA, let's say, and an attorney who's just like a mom and pop person, they don't want to be big, they don't want to grow to millions, they don't want to have a $1 million enterprise. Now you go to them and ask them to help you engineer a $1 million enterprise, and they like, you don't need all that. You don't need this, you don't need that. I've had people to tell me this is what a lot of them have told them. I'm blessed that I don't have attorneys or CPAs that I work with or have ever worked with that think like that and talk like that. And even if they do, they know where I stand. You ain't gonna tell me what to do. Do your job and do it well. I appreciate you, I respect you, but I'm going for what I want to go for. I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. Make sure my legal stuff right, my tax stuff right, but give me the freedom and flexibility and the liberty to do it the way I want to do it. So anyway, identifying your best business structure. So that's the third element, second element. The third element to engineering a $1 million enterprise is developing. And I'm literally taking you right down my list. AID. Assess, identify, and develop. So what are you developing? You're developing your products and services. Okay? You're developing your products and services. Why do you want to develop your products and services? I'm going to put PPO right here because you really need to properly package your products and services, price your products and services, and offer them in the marketplace. This is the third element to engineering a $1 million enterprise. Now, let's just stop for a moment so everybody can be with me, because I'm rushing through this because I don't have a whole lot of time on the show. But let's just say you're engineering a $1 million enterprise, and you're taking my advice. So you get to the A and you assess your personal, professional, and financial goals. Let's say you do the $1 million math. You decide, okay, I'm committed to be a millionaire. I want to generate at least $1 million a year in my business, and I want to make a certain amount of money. I know I want to be able to net at least $200,000 a year, whatever the math is that you do. Once you do the math and you commit to the math, now you identify with your best business structure. Let's just assume you take my advice and you say, you know what? Even though I have products and services I want to sell through an operating company, I'm going to start my holding company. I'm going to use my operating company to sell products and services. My holding company is going to own the asset of that operating company. I'm going to position myself at the top of my asset management company so I could be free to keep building my brand, to market my brand. But I want to have a business structure that has the bandwidth to get me to at least $1 million in revenue a year. And then you get to 3, all right, now I want to develop. Even though you have ideas for products and services, you still want to make sure that when you develop products and services, that they match a $1 million engineered enterprise. Okay, as I just gave you an example earlier, I've had clients and mentees to tell me, I want to make $1 million a year. I want to have it in my business, or I want to make this much a year, and I want to personally make this much. I want my business to make this. I want to be able to make that. I want to hire people, blah, 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 blah. And then when we get to the product and services and they tell me the dollar amount, I show them, I'm like, okay, well, let's say, for example, you're trying to sell a $20 product and you want to generate $1 million a year. How many $20 products do you need to sell every month to gross $85,000 a month to hit $1 million a year? It may be unrealistic. You ain't Walmart. You ain't Amazon. You ain't the dollar store. You ain't Five Below or whatever. You're not those companies, so you may not be able to just get it out the mud as a small business owner, go on social media. You ain't got a big following of millions of people. You might not be able to sell $1 million worth of $20 products. So that means you got to think your products and services through. You may have to repackage them. So that means instead of just having a $20 product, you might also need a $200 product and a $2,000 product. I don't know, you might need a $20,000 product or a service or a mixture of those, so you can land somewhere in the middle and say, my median product and service is $2,000. Now, if I divide that into $1 million, it lowers how many transactions I need. You gotta package them, you gotta price them, and then you gotta offer them. Otherwise, you just ain't getting to this $1 million enterprise, all right? So that's number 3. Let's keep moving. Number 4, the fourth element to engineering a $1 million business is integrating your systems and processes. So again, if you just a solopreneur and you out here scrapping, just trying to make a couple dollars, the type of CRM you use for your sales and your marketing, the type of financial management you do, the type of administrative systems that you use or project management tools that you use, they may be different for you as a solopreneur than it is for a business owner who has $1 million enterprise. Right? So that means you have to make sure that you're engineering your systems and processes and integrating them into this business enterprise so that you're already anticipating virtual assistants, real personal assistants, administrators, marketing people, sales people, whatever type of people you plan on hiring. Okay, because if you do the millionaire math, to get to $1 million, at some point you're going to hire at least a couple people. It's probably going to end up being at least a good handful of you, depending on what type of business you have. If you don't do this in your engineering, here's what's going to happen. On one end, you're going to engineer $1 million business and hire 12 people and you only make $150,000 a year, or you engineer it in a way to where you're trying to get to $1 million and it's just you scrapping and you don't even have the systems and processes in your business that can handle the weight to lift you to $1 million in revenue. So this is a big element in engineering $1 million enterprise, integrating your systems and processes. And again, you don't have to have the most sophisticated systems and processes. The truth is, I've engineered and built $1 million enterprise myself. And if I told you I think the 3 main systems that we use, like platforms that we use, you'll be like, wow, those are so elementary. Well, guess what? They've worked for me and the few people on my team, and we're continuing to grow and expand. However, I have to re-engineer to get beyond $1 million, because I got to that point and I realized, man, I'm glitching. I'm overworking. And that's where I had to deploy more money. I had to get in more rooms. I had to learn more sophisticated strategies on how to now engineer to 10 million. But again, if you're just engineering to $1 million, the CRMs or the systems and processes the solopreneur uses may be different than the systems and processes the person who has 3 or 4 people on their team use. So you definitely have to take this element into deep consideration. I know entrepreneurs today who are out there scrapping, doing everything in their business, but they don't even have anything tracking. They don't have any system, any process. So even if they did hire somebody, the person they hire gonna be lost. They don't even know what to do or where to start. They don't have a general operating system. So this is critical, y'all. This is the 4th element, integrating systems and processes. And again, you don't have to have the most sophisticated systems and processes to engineer $1 million business. You just have to have something that has the bandwidth to get you there, okay? And I've worked with, I've had people in my church, I've had people that were on my staff when I pastored my church who engineered like $100 million, billion-dollar businesses, and worked with companies that really built these types of systems and processes. So what I'm saying to you, I know it's true, all right? Even though it's still different when you start working it, but nevertheless, this is the 4th element. And then number 5, the 5th and final element to engineering $1 million enterprise is executing. Executing your actions. And again, we're not talking about you just throwing spaghetti on the wall and hoping something stick. We're talking about you being very strategic and methodical about how you conduct business on a day-to-day basis. So just looking at these 5 elements to engineering $1 million enterprise, you see that, okay, it's not the easiest thing, but it's doable. You can actually do it. You just have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to take what you learn, and you got to be willing to formulate it and put it together in a way that it makes sense for you and for your business. So these are the 5 elements to engineering $1 million business. And I'm so grateful because I can use the same five elements that I use as a business consultant for my clients and for my mentees. This is my AIDIE process, AIDIE. You assess your personal, professional, and financial goals, because if you put a business structure together, if you put this whole enterprise together and you haven't done the math, the millionaire math, if you haven't committed to that math, if you haven't made it up in your mind that you're going to get there and you're not going to stop and you're not going to let nothing or anyone stop you, you're going to start glitching. No matter how good your business is put together, no matter how good your services and products are. So you want to do the math. How much money you need to make a month if you want to generate $1 million in revenue, how much you might want to net, what the quality of your life wants to look like with that $1 million math. It at least sets you up to the climb. Let me put it that way. It'll set you up to the climb. It'll give you, it ain't gonna eliminate all the pain, but it'll at least give you some sense of solace and relief to know that if I just keep climbing, I'm gonna get to where I wanna go. So that's the A. The I is identifying with your best business structure. Preferably, you're gonna have a holding company, you're gonna have maybe some divisions and operating subsidiaries because you wanna have a business structure put together to best fit what a $1 million enterprise looks like. Does that make sense to everybody? And then number 3, D, the D is develop. Developing your products and services. You have to make sure that the products and services that you want to offer, they match the $1 million enterprise you wanna build. Okay, because your prices have to be right. Your products and services have to be packaged right so you can offer them. Because again, if you got a $20 product and you're trying to build a $1 million business off a $20 product, you might not be able to scale it the way Walmart can scale it. You might not be able to sell massive amounts of $20 products. You might need $200 products or services, $2,000, $20,000. You might need a mixture in your inventory to give you a median price product or service, or maybe a hybrid made up of a couple products and services so that you can have a star product or star program that you could do the math, the $1 million math with to see, oh, okay, most likely I won't sell a lot of $20,000 products. I won't sell enough $20 products, but maybe I'll sell enough $1,000 products. And then I could do the $1 million math on that. And at least I know I have something to work towards, okay? And then number 4, integrate. You want to integrate the right systems and processes. You want to look at your sales systems. You want to look at your marketing systems. You want to look at your financial systems. You want to look at your administrative systems and your executive systems. Basically, you want to look at all the systems that make up a company's general operating system, and you want to integrate them into this enterprise so that you won't start glitching as you start moving, especially when you're on the come up and you're a solopreneur doing it all by yourself. You don't want to glitch. You'll burn out. You'll get to a point to where you stop marketing because you're the only one that's selling. You'll get to a point to where you stop selling and marketing because you're stuck doing administration. You'll stop doing administration because now you got to do the finances. I'm not saying you won't have to do all that if it's just you, but what I'm saying is if you put a general operating system together, you can focus on where is your highest and best use needed to make you more money until you're able to bring somebody on and you can afford to bring them on to give you a little bit more runway, but you need systems and processes. And then number 5, executing your actions. And again, you want lawyers, you want CPAs, you want the legal and tax people in your credibility kit. But I personally think you need people like me. I mean, hey, it's my opinion, but I feel like I'm a necessity. I feel like I'm an essential worker when it comes to entrepreneurs if they want to engineer $1 million businesses or successful enterprises. You're gonna have to pay for coaches or consultants and people who know how to help you do this. Like I said, I'm paying for coaching, for consulting. I pay people to help me scale beyond where I'm at. And I'm learning, wow, the amount of money that it's gonna take for me to pay to continue to learn how to engineer a 10, 25, 50 million, $100 million empire. That means I gotta make money where I'm at, and I got to be willing to push the envelope and make that investment. But I'm okay with it because I know I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't do that where I was initially. So all y'all that's watching me, like I said, this same 5-step process I use when I consult and coach people. So that means if you join my coaching program, if we scheduled a one-on-one session, that initial session, this is probably what I'm going to walk you through. Now, I might not sit down with you and say, hey, how are you? I want to walk you through my AD process. I've done it so many times, I don't even have to have notes or outline, but I will assess your personal, professional, and financial goals. I will help you do the math based on your dreams. I will help you identify with your best business structure. I will look at your products and services to see what needs to be developed, what needs to be restructured, reorganized, repackaged, how it needs to be offered. I will help you integrate the right systems and processes and show you what is necessary for where you want to go. And I'll make sure we put a game plan together so that you can execute it. And if you're in a program like my mentorship program, we're going to give you a year to keep learning how to do this, to keep learning how to tweak this, how to polish it and perfect it. And we're going to monitor your results along the way. So with that being said, I recently extended a special offer for my Millionaire Mentorship program. This is a 1-year accelerated coaching and consulting program. And for this 1 year, we give you access to our Millionaire Blueprint. So everything that I just talked about, this AD process, we have a self-assessment in this blueprint. We have training, videos, tutorials, documents, forms to show you all the ins and outs of holding companies, creative tax strategies, financial literacy, systems, processes, everything that makes up those five elements we have in our educational program. And it comes with our mentorship. We also give you VIP tickets to our quarterly workshops. We host quarterly workshops on sales, marketing, finances, business operations, because we want you to engineer a $1 million enterprise. We also give you a VIP ticket to our coaching boot camp, which we have one coming up in the next month or so. It's going to be our last one. And this is where we actually show you how to build your own coaching business. I have 3 6-figure divisions for coaching, consulting, and education. So I think I know something about how to build a coaching business. We also give you a VIP ticket to our small business workshop. This is where we take a day to deep dive into how you should put your own general operating system together so that you can measure your KPIs, so you can have a process for people that you hire so they're not lost on how to help support you in your business. We have weekly coaching calls every Monday night. We do a live private Zoom call with me and my team. We answer questions. We share success stories. We teach on certain topics relating to business and finance. And we also have Millionaire Concierge. Imagine being in a program that you can text, you can call, and email a concierge any day of the week. They're so good, they'll answer the phone or email or a text on a Saturday and Sunday unless they in church shouting. If we in church shouting, they might stop and answer it during their shouting in church, but I can't guarantee that. But these are the main benefits that come with our Millionaire Mentorship program. I recently added these 2 as a bonus for anyone who joins our mentorship program, and if you pay the one-time payment of $3,500 for the year, we extended a bonus to give you 1 free LLC. So what that means is we will set up a holding company or an operating company LLC absolutely free. So we charge $1,500 in our corporate services division to set up holding companies. We charge $1,300 to set up operating companies. Get your EIN, your articles of organization, draft your operating agreement. We're giving you one for free, and we're giving you a free coaching session so I can actually walk you through those 5 elements. So these are 2 bonuses that we offer for anyone who pays the entire amount in full upfront for the year in the mentorship program. If for some reason you know this is what you need because you want to engineer a $1 million enterprise, but you just don't have the $3,500, and getting a free session one-on-one and also getting a a free LLC is not important, just reach out to me and my team. We can discuss a payment option if you need to break that $3,500 up. But trust me, paying $3,500 for 1 year to be in a program that will definitely show you how to engineer $1 million enterprise, it's like not even pennies on the dollar compared to what you are going to get as a result and in return for this education, for this coaching, for the training, for the workshops and the boot camps and just the community and the camaraderie of having me and my team in your corner. So if you want to know more information about it, you might have some questions, or maybe you're like, say less. I'm in. I want you to look in the comments. And my Millionaire concierge, the ones that I'm talking about here, they're going to put a number in the comments, okay? And you can text mentor to that number. You could text mentor to that number you see in the comments, and we'll reach back out to you, answer any questions you have. Maybe you're ready to be a part of our mentorship program. Maybe you're ready to be coached. Maybe you're ready to take your business to the next level. Maybe you're just ready to, you know what? I'm tired of struggling and plateauing. I want somebody who's done it to show me how to engineer $1 million enterprise. I can do it. I can do it in my sleep because I've done it for myself. So I have so much confidence in what I say because I've done it for me. If I haven't done it for me and I'm just rambling out my mouth because of information, I wouldn't have the confidence. But I know I can because I've done it for me, and I'm doing it for so many people who are at least open and willing to let me coach them and consult them and mentor them to 6 and 7 figures and beyond. So in the comments, there's a number. You can text the word mentor to that number. We'll reach back out to you. And if we answer your questions and we have showed you everything you need to see to make a decision to be a member in our mentorship program and a part of our Millionaire community, we can get you signed up today, onboarded today, and you can start training and learning today. Of course, if you pay the $3,500 in full, we can start your LLC process today. We can schedule your one-on-one coaching session today. We can onboard you to all of the courses and programs and the schedules for our upcoming workshops and boot camps, and we can get you to that milli. So I love and appreciate all of you. Thank you for joining the Ramonepreston Show today. I hope you got value. And for some of y'all who've been asking me lately, like, Ramon, what exactly do you do? I hope I kind of answered that question to show you what I really do as a business and financial consultant and coach and educator. I help people start, structure, and scale their businesses, their ministries, their income streams. More specifically to this conversation, I help people engineer $1 million enterprises. That's what me and my team does every day. We do it extremely well. In the comments, you will see the word mentor with a number. Text mentor to the number. And all y'all that's watching me and you've been following me and you've been getting all this free game, at some point you're going to have to come on in. Join the community. Be a part of the family. Don't let price be your problem. Stop letting money be your barrier. You do not have a money problem. If it's one thing I tell my team all the time when we're training and role playing and preparing for our days, at least when I'm here early enough, I tell them money ain't the problem. People telling you they got money problems, they can't afford. It's not true. People got money for what they got money for. And if you're committed to becoming a millionaire, if you're committed to building and engineering $1 million enterprise, you gonna find the money to do it. Because I promise you this, if I guaranteed you today that I have $1 million check waiting for you, and it was like a real guarantee, like, I'm not even gonna say me. If a bank or an attorney or some legitimate trusted institution would sign and notarize and get a court order to say, you're gonna get $1 million. The only thing you need to do is bring us $3,500. I promise you'll find that $3,500. You wouldn't even need a payment plan. You find money for what you want to find money for. And if you're not serious about your business, if you ain't serious about your legacy, if you ain't serious about growth and expansion, I don't even want to do business with you. I'm going to keep it 100. I'm thankful for all the business I do with people. I'm thankful for the people who follow and support our movement. But the truth is this: I don't want or need people in my life or in any program of mine or in my community or anywhere near me who ain't committed to the climb, because I'm committed. All right, so again, inside of the comments, you'll see the word mentor. You can text the word mentor to the number you see, and we'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. But we want to help you engineer this $1 million enterprise so that you can get started and get going. Love y'all, appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for joining the show. Leave a comment. Give me your biggest takeaway from today's show. And please, even if you're not watching on YouTube, go to YouTube, type in Ramonepreston, subscribe to my YouTube page. Subscribe to my YouTube page. If you already follow me on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, thank you. But I also need you to subscribe to my YouTube page. YouTube has been by far our most impactful channel yet. And we have almost 10,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, and we should be past 100,000 by now with all the information that I share. But most people who visit our YouTube page and watch our videos, which we have probably about 20,000 views a month, most of these people, most of you, do not hit the subscribe button for whatever the reason is. I don't know, maybe Google want you to sign in to your account, but just take the steps and take a few minutes to do it. I appreciate it. The algorithms, the likes, the shares, the comments, the engagement, the interaction, it all keeps pushing us up those news feeds so people can see what we have and how we're helping a lot of people build enterprises, empires, and legacies. So love y'all, appreciate y'all. We'll be back here, same place, same time tomorrow, 12 o'clock noon, right here on the Ramonepreston